So I worked on a 3D puzzle, and the presentation that I'm going to be doing here, it would be more of a final project after the students have turned in their design brief and management plan. I made those up in a Word document. So I had those already set up on the other side. And so I wanted to use this kind of like the engineering report. So I kind of sectioned it out based on those facts. So without further ado, the 3D puzzle, which I'm very excited. I got all my pieces printed, so I have a model. I just knocked it off my desk, so now it's in pieces. So we'll set that to the side. Next slide. Okay, so I first started with the client. Our client is Office Depot, and Office Depot has a real problem with staples. So Staples here has come up with the easy button and one of their top selling products. And Office Depot is needing more advertisement needs. So so that's where this project comes from. That's set up through the scenario that it gives you is that you're approached by some kind of office supply company and they have an idea. So I got to thinking about, I had one of these three-dimensional puzzles of my own here. And so I was like, man, I wonder if I can design my own 3D puzzle and then kind of play it off as like a decorative message or something like that. So as I went through the project summary, our goal is to design a simple 3D puzzle that will fit on any size desk, takes 5 to 10 minutes to solve, and displays both the Office Depot logo and a decorative inspirational message for the Office Depot customer. So we will design and perform some data collection and analysis to assure the final design recommendation meets the client's needs. And then I also have a part over here on the introduction. So I said Office Desk 3D puzzles are a decorative and sly way to entertain office guests. Fun and challenging to both adults and children, a 3D puzzle can serve as a much needed distraction for visitors while they wait for scheduled appointments. Size and puzzle difficulty present the greatest challenge for designing the perfect Office Desk 3D puzzle. We are proposing a 3-inch cube puzzle made of 5 parts, which will fit on any desk, be solvable in less than 10 minutes, and be customizable on the face for advertisement purposes. Well, that is kind of the direction that I went as I was building this thing, and I have a 3D rendered picture here of my last design. But before we could get to that point, we had to discuss constraints. And though this was a little challenging, I was kind of making notes as I was looking through the survey there a few minutes before we were presenting. And I was thinking about one thing that I really struggled with this design process, because I have not used it very much. I'm a biologist. So the design process, I understand, is a lot like the scientific method, but yeah, it's still a little foreign to me. So I was really struggling with this idea that if you go and you get clients and you're presenting to your clients, I think that'll really help my students. So every project that I do, I'm really going to try and set up from a spot of, go and talk to somebody, even if it's your mom, dad, a brother, to get some ideas, and that'll help with constraints. So I talked to a roommate to help set up with my constraints. And so one thing that I was trying to come up with was, if you're going to have a puzzle sitting on your desk, you don't want it to be real big, and when you knock it over, you're going to have all these pieces all over the place that you can't pick up. So then you like scoot them over to the side of your desk, and it looks real cluttered and whatever. So I decided to limit my number of parts that I would make it out of, but I also wanted to look at the solvability. So I didn't want to put a puzzle together that takes if you have to do an average of just random subjects, it would take them, 15 to 20 minutes. So I was trying to game for like 5 to 10, which I kind of misshot, but not too bad. So I did want to put the company logo on there simply because of the client being Office Depot, and I thought that was important. I did not do that with mine. I put Made by Bassett on mine because I'm going to put it on my desk, and it was my first 3D print, so pretty cool. I also wanted to remain stationary, so this is an easy constraint, and then be compact and attractive. Couple quality things. So quality, I just talked about making sure that you use a so I have PLA that I'm using in my 3D printer. I guess that's standard. I'm not really sure. I'm running off of what my roommate has told me. And so I did look it up. It is a non-toxic, and it provides pretty strong durability based on what I'm seeing. Other risk management I was looking at was choking hazards and making sure that there's no toxic materials. So as far as for choking goes, I made my pieces on a 3-inch cube So they're all pretty large. So I don't think that's near as big of an issue. So here are my original sketches. And so going back to what Eric was showing us, Eric's was awesome. I am stuck still learning to sketch with the printed out graph paper. So I kind of made myself an engineering notebook of loose leaf paper, which is, I see why it's a notebook now, because it's pretty easy to get all your stuff all over the place. So as I was trying to design this thing the other day, it was pretty challenging. So I ended up drawing all my flat surfaces, and all my X's represent all my faces, because I was really struggling to make sure that I could build this puzzle into different looks without, I don't know, my brain couldn't work three-dimensionally. So I was like building the same piece 4 or 5 times. I was like, I just got to check mark off what I've already done. Here is my draft that I made. So pretty neat. I like this whole draft version that was able. Is one of my favorite things that we got to see during the whole week of software learning, because this is just, I don't know, I think it's a really cool tool to be able to break down and the imaging and how you just like click it in there and you get this new view of a three-dimensional object. It seems very handy to me. And I also played around with this. So I made mine move as it comes apart. I used the floating camera, which was very cool. So there's our final project in motion. And yeah, I can't get over enough how much fun it was to go through and do the animation. I like movie editing as just a hobby. So I spent way more time doing animation stuff than I probably needed to, but it was exciting. So going back to where I was approaching this from the problem, so I wanted to have some kind of a testing protocol. So I bugged my roommates a little while ago. And this was the time that they took, at least the 4 of them. So I was actually pretty happy with this. It took almost 7 minutes for them to solve. So I felt like that was within my range. I was a little worried, but we tested it I tested a couple more times with a few people that we had stopped by, and they took much longer. They just gave up on me. So I was like, oh, well, maybe not. So I don't know if this could be false data. Maybe they were paying attention as I was coming up with my design. I'm not sure, but they seemed to do pretty good. And then, so then I just wrote a conclusion that we had success. The 3D puzzle has an average solve time of around 7 minutes. Thus, it is a challenging puzzle, but it can be completed within a reasonable amount of time. The 3D puzzle looks great on the desk, yet compact and stationary. Office Depot customers will enjoy the decoration it brings to their office, and Office Depot will reap the benefits of free advertisement. And I wanted to finish it with just once again a thank you to Tom and Dick. And I was rude and did not include my teammates. I had awesome teammates this week. Tess helped out a lot. We miss Ashley. It stinks that she's not here. She added a lot of flair to our group earlier in the week when we were all frustrated. She was the one that kind of was for us all. And this is kind of how I'm still feeling. I'm just trying to let it all process and meld, and I hope I don't forget it all. But it is it's amazing just how much whatever part of this software you were the most interested in, you spent the most time wanting to go and do that. And I could tell that it wasn't motivation was not a factor. So I knew nothing about CAD software, never used it, didn't even know what CAD stood for. And I feel like I've learned a lot in 1 week. So pretty cool.